We're going to take a look at some reporting options around payment entry. Payment entry is the next step after invoice entry. So you've done invoice entry already, and then you come to payment entry and you do your reconciliation. I'm just going to select a date range. We know we have some payments here in our demo system. So we've gone ahead and entered a payment, and on that payment we've checked off all of the invoices that we've been paid for on a particular check that came from the manufacturer. We entered the check amount and the check date. So we have a completely reconciled payment for the month of January. This is Able Manufacturing for January 2006. So to report on this information, we can come to Report Explorer. Any of the reports that have commission in the name are based on the payment entry date, and we'll report this information. There's basically three that we care about primarily. One is the commission statement, which is the base report for a complete look at the payment entries. And then there's a couple of more summary reports: agency commission statement and sales rep commission statement. These guys will also be based on payment entry date, and they'll summarize the information, in this case for a particular sales rep, showing him his split, and for the agency a summary by principal and by sales rep with a little breakdown. So let's take a look at a couple of these, and we'll look at them for that January 2006. So we'll say this is our January report. We want to see who got paid and for what in that time frame. This report here is a good summary for the agency. This would be one as an agency owner that I would print out on a monthly basis to give me an idea of where our commissions stand, what we've been paid for. And what it does for us is gives us a nice summary of the sales reps, which sales reps are doing what information. So here's their sales, here's the average rate, here's the commission, here's our splits and their splits. Now this is if you do a commission split in sales rep management, you're paying a portion of the commission, of the total commission, to the sales rep, and you would set that up in sales rep management. It shows their split. In this case here we're showing 100% split. The sales rep in our demo account, they get 100% of the commissions paid. More typically, if you're paying a real split, you would do something like a 40 or 50% split, and then you would see a more even distribution between the agency split and the sales rep split here. If we scroll down a little bit, we see the principal summary section shows us which manufacturers are paying us how much sales and how much commissions. The two graphs above here also give us a little distribution. These are like pie charts laid out flat to fit better in our report. What they do here very easily is show us who our major lines are in the case of a manufacturer. So you can see that Able Manufacturing and California Custom Manufacturing are by far our two largest lines. And likewise, if we come up here to the sales rep portion, we can see that who is this? Weston, Matthew Weston, and it appears that Jenny Doe here is a little bit larger portions of our sales. So that gives you a quick look. You can see who your big lines are, who your sales reps are. Yeah. Ideally, you want a nice even distribution between your sales reps, and you don't want one or two manufacturers dominating your distribution of commissions. You'd like that to be pretty even too, so you have more, so you don't depend on one line to pay most of the bills. Scrolling down, we did leave in the customer summary section, so it'll give us a nice breakdown of customer sales and commissions for those sales by manufacturer. And in this case, it's going to give us a nice summary for the month of January. And we can see here that some of those came in November. So on our particular payment, we were paid for at least one invoice from back in the November time frame, and this is probably a invoice that either was missed in an earlier payment, or more likely the customer paid late on it, and therefore we were paid late as the agency on that. Likewise, let's take a quick look here at the sales rep commission statement, and we'll just run it for the same time frame, January 2006. 2006. And in this case, you can run it for a particular sales rep. Let's see, Jenny Doe did a good amount of sales in that year. So we'll show the customer summary and we'll show the invoice details as well. This would be a report that we would print for Jenny, or Jenny could actually print it herself if we gave her permissions in the system to do that. And then she could run this off, or you could run it off for her. And what it is it's just a report for her that shows the principal summary, who she was paid for, what sales she did, what her split of the commissions are. Now this report only does show the sales rep split, so this isn't one you would use for your agency accounting. This would just be one for the sales rep. Shows her which customers she was paid for, so what activity she did, what invoices came in for those customers, and it goes on and on for all of our customers that we did it. And then right down towards the bottom we should have the little totals here for California Custom Manufacturing. So we can see all of those invoice details and the invoice dates of all the information she was paid for. If you ran it without the summary section, it'd be just the principal total section, so she could see what was going on a principal level. If you ran it without the invoice details, then you would just see a summary per customer. So it'd be a much more concise report if she doesn't need to see each of these individual invoices. And that's really up to you and up to her as to what she really wants to see. I would probably run it in the summary section, and then if she wanted to get the details, she could go into the system and run it herself for a particular customer and see just those details. By allowing your sales rep to run these reports themselves, they can pull up what they care about at the moment, rather than just getting reams of paper and having to sift through it later for a particular customer that they're interested in for a sales call that they're doing that day. The commission statement is actually the primary one. These agency and sales rep commission statements are summary ones that have a preset number of parameters. The commission statement is what really allows us the option to run it for any number of parameters, and you can see there's a whole bunch more options here. Run it for a particular customer, a particular sales rep, a particular line that we represent, add or remove different summaries, subtotal by customer or subtotal by month, show the invoices by date or by customer name, so you can sort it in different ways, show different combinations of the agency split and the sales rep split. This is really your primary report if you really want to get some specific information. All of these options here are explained on the social.mrsware.com site. If you type into the Mrs. Ware user group search for report parameters, commission statement, you'll find it. You do have to join the Mrs. Ware user group in order to review the reports and data analysis queue details. So we encourage you to join that. When you run this report, depending on the options you get, you're going to get more general information that you're looking for, but it looks pretty much similar to the other two reports we ran. Now we'll get into data analysis. Now there's two commission payment cubes, the commission payment analysis and the commission due analysis. Both of these are based on payment entry information, or the lack of payment entry information in the case of commission due analysis. Commission due analysis will show you all the invoices that have not been paid, so anybody that doesn't appear on a payment entry. Commission payment analysis itself is like those reports we just looked at in Report Explorer. What they're going to show us, and if we just run it for 1 month, we'll see the same data as we saw in those reports. They're going to show us the payment entry for the month, and they're going to show it for any of the manufacturers, customers, or sales reps that we choose to look at. So 2006, we ran it for January, so when I expand this, I'm just going to see January 2006. And here's the sales, commission due, commission paid, commission rate for each of the manufacturers, for each of the customers, for each of the products. If we want to show it per sales rep, we'll pull down the sales rep on invoice, and we'll look at it for Bob, Stan, or Jenny. Well, we looked at Jenny before, so let's expand it. There's the two manufacturers again for Jenny. Here was her CC Yellowfields and Nike Brothers and Zeta Company, the two companies that she was selling to for California Custom Manufacturing. And we do have some product detail in here, so you can see who bought what for each of those. Sales and commission due. If we give Jenny just permissions to see her split of the commission, which is the default, then she would not see the total commission, she would only see her portion of the commission. As the agency owner or data entry person, you would generally see the entire commission, plus you'd have the ability to see the other two splits as well. So you can check those off. If you want to run a report for somebody, you could just show them the sales rep split and the commission due, or just the sales and their sales rep split, whatever combination you'd like for the report that you would generate for them. Once again, allowing them to log in themselves, they can run these reports and drill down and see this information whenever they want. They can also do it by address or payment month. For the person actually entering the payment entries and invoice entry information, we do have the payment information here as well. So if you are looking for a particular manufacturer and you want to look at a payment and get the invoice details for that payment, you can do that. So here's payment number 1531, and we probably do this by manufacturer. So let's look at Able Manufacturing 4531. Here's the customers that appeared on that payment. Here are the entries for each of the customers as a total. In addition to showing the sales rep their split of the commissions and really generating both a payment entry statement to check to make sure that your invoices are reconciled correctly, and for generating a report that is suitable for giving to the accountant to write a check for the sales reps portion of their split. Those are two major uses. The other use would be revenue recognition at the agency level. So at the end of the year, in that case, if we were really looking at revenue recognition, we would run this for the entire year of 2006, for example. And let's go ahead and do that. We'll just take a look at it quick. What I'm trying to show here is for the year of 2006, when did we get paid and how much did we get paid? And because these payment entry dates actually reflect the check date that the manufacturers paid us, this is a real reflection of what we got paid and when, as opposed to the sales and commission reports that run off invoice date, which is based on when the invoice went out, when the product shipped to the customer, doesn't necessarily reflect when we got paid for that product by the manufacturer. So this is a more accurate reflection of when we got paid as a company, and is good for doing your taxes and that kind of thing. So in this case, we ran it for the entire year of 2006, so I'm going to pull the month over here just to kind of show you the breakdown. Here's 2006, January through December. Here are the sales numbers. Here is the commission. So this is what our agency actually got paid. And of course, you can break it down by product, customer, principal if you wanted to for each of the months, or just look at the total for the entire year. And there's what we did as an agency. If you have any questions on reporting, which option is best for you, social.mrsware.com has all the report parameters and explanations of the reports written out with examples. So it's a very nice way to read through and reread when you have some questions. You can kind of follow through it a lot easier. But if you have specific questions, of course, feel free to contact us, support@eon.net, and we'd be happy to point you in the right direction.